Trek Geeks is proud to have Fansets as our presenting sponsor. You know, Fansets is the place for amazing pin collectibles, with over 500 officially licensed Star Trek pins and new releases every single month. Stay tuned for a special discount code good on your next order at fansets.com. Fansets. Our pins have character.
Greetings to you, Trekkies, Trekkers, and Trek enthusiasts all over the planet. Welcome to the biggest little show this side of the Alpha Quadrant, the Trek Geeks podcast. I am your co-host, Bill Smith, and I am excited to be here. Here I am, refreshed and back from Sin City, or the city in the desert, or fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, however you want to refer to it. But unfortunately, my baggage got sent home with me. That's right, my lovely co-host, the somewhat intolerable Dan Davidson. Dan, we made it.
We made it. It was weird flying out there without you. It was weird flying home without you. I'm glad I am your bad luggage or whatever the hell you just said. It's great to see you, man. Great to be here. Baggage, luggage. I don't care what it is. I'm excited to talk about what a great week we had. And it's going to be a great discussion. Looking forward to it.
Well, it's going to be great with the exception of the fact that you're here.
Wow. That started early. We're only 2 minutes in.
I'm starting early. Yeah,
thanks, pal.
2 minutes and some odd seconds. There's actually a timer now that we can see as we do this, which is actually kind of cool. You and I look forward to Vegas so many times throughout the year. We talk about it all year long. We talk about what we're going to do. We try to make it a little different each year. And we'll talk about this more later, but this year I think we probably had the most touristy time we've ever had.
I'd have to agree with that based on the fact that we didn't have anything to do, which in some ways was great. And in some ways I felt like we were busier than we had a bunch of stuff going on. But that's because we had a lot of people at our table in the vendor's room and just had a fantastic time. We did get to walk around. We did get to talk to people. We were reunited with some people that we haven't seen in a long, long time. And it was a great week. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, you know that I was a little nervous and had a lot on my mind before the week started. And for the most part, I was able to put that behind me and enjoy the week. So I'm glad that I went.
I'm glad that you went too, because honestly, now that you've been doing this for almost 10 years, it honestly wouldn't be the same without you. And it's weird to think that you've been going to Vegas now that long.
Yeah.
And that I've been going even longer than that.
Right.
Because you've heard me, talk on and on and on about Vegas for at least 10 years.
Yeah. You just don't shut up about it. But it's like you've said it before. Vegas is your Disney. What Disney is for me, Vegas is or was for you. So I can appreciate the fact that you like to go there a lot and do all kinds of cool things. So,
well, we're going to talk more certainly about Vegas coming up. Certainly the difference this year was that we traveled separately, which was really. I'm right here.
It was so good.
I'm right here. But it's always great to have that trip and to see people and to have the table and to just, be able to share our love of this thing, which I know is how we typically refer to it. Almost makes it sound like the mafia, quite frankly, but this thing that we do.
This thing we do, right?
Gabagool.
Wow.
Bring me the gabagool. Sorry, that's an Office reference. Everything ties back to Star Trek or The Office for me. I don't know what it is. but we're gonna talk about our collective weekend. For the audio version of Trek Geeks this week, we're gonna drop in some audio that we recorded on
Yeah.
site in Vegas
Yep.
during Saturday and Sunday. Doesn't really translate well to have just an audio presentation during a live recording of Trek Geeks. So for
Yep.
those of you Patreonicals who will also get the audio version, you'll want to be sure to listen to that. And
Yep.
apologies to the patrons. Patreon kind of screwed up the live stream link for today and wanted to schedule it for tomorrow, which
Ah,
is kind of after when this would have happened.
right. It would have been a lot of people going, "We're Bill and Dan."
Where Bill and Dan wouldn't get a chance to say hello like Burley. Um, so we're going to talk more certainly about Vegas after we, of course, share a little business
Ooh,
with America, Dan.
like
And
that.
of course, let me take off the overlay because that
Yeah. The overlay is
would look
pretty, but no, that's even prettier
it's
right
pretty,
there.
but it's blocking fan sets.
I know.
Um, of course, of course, we want to talk about our amazing friends at Fansets, and we're so grateful that they're the presenting sponsor each and every week for Trekkie.
I could not agree more.
And I kind of ran with this because I didn't have the copy up. So
Okay,
uh,
and we'll do it right now. You know what? We love having them as our presenting sponsor, buddy. It was great to hang out with them all week in the vendors room at STLV. They had a metric ton of new pins on display at the con, and you can bet they're all going to be available very soon over at fansets.com. So many great pins are on display, Bill, like the 2024 convention exclusive poker chip, which has become a favorite every year at STLV. It was Neelix. It was so popular, dude, that it was sold out by Thursday.
so unreal.
Amazing that it was sold out so quickly. Don't worry, though. They're going to have additional ones available on the website as soon as they can get them. But I got to say, my favorite one for the whole week, man, was the Lower Decks Vegas exclusive pin. All your favorite characters from Lower Decks were on the pin with that great Delta, the Lower Decks logo, and of course, glitter. Lots and lots of glitter, which I will always love. It was a fan favorite also, and it's going to be available on the website at some point. And I'll tell you what, when it shows up on the website, folks, get it right away because this is sure to sell out.
Yes, and I'm wearing it right here, this Lower Decks Vegas pin.
There you
Um,
go.
it is amazing, it is awesome, and very glittery, and you're gonna wanna be sure to get it and all the great new pins from Vegas in your hands. Many of them are gonna be available in the coming weeks on fansets.com, but until then, you know what the drill is. Head on over to fansets.com and put, like, 500 pins that they have available. Get them all in your cart.
Yeah.
And at checkout, be sure to enter the special discount code TrekGeeks for 10% off your entire order. That's Trek Geeks in all capital letters with no spaces. Now let's think about this for a second. If you took all
Mm,
500 pins,
mhm,
put them in your cart,
mhm,
took 10% off using the code Trek Geeks,
mhm.
that's going to be a pretty huge savings. I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
Gonna be a pretty
Um,
big bill too.
hey, let's look at the positive.
Positive though, you're gonna have 500 Star Trek pins from Fansets. Who does not want that? I know I want it.
Still cheaper than most of the new collectibles coming out from CBS. I just want to put that out there. And
Absolutely.
of course, don't forget, when you spend more than $30, you'll automatically get free shipping inside the United States.
Fansets. Our pins have character, and we thank our friends at Fansets for being the presenting sponsor of Trek Geeks.
We sure do. Each and every week, they are amazing to us. They were amazing to us in Vegas. Certainly, one of
As
the
always.
highlights is to be next to them in the vendor hall. It's always a joy for us, and this year was no exception. That's for sure.
No exception at all. It's always great. We also had our friend Matt from Section 31 Supply on the other side, who was part of the whole Fansets gig. He's a fantastic guy. We got to hang out with him for the first time. We had pins on both sides of us all week, and it was, I'm not going to lie, it was pretty awesome. If I could take every pin and just like stick you in the head with it, I would
Whoa,
have had a perfect week. I mean
whoa!
that in a good way, of course, because then you would have been showing all that great Star Trek swag all week long.
You're desperately trying to find a positive here, and I'm
I,
not seeing it. I just
I was
want to
going to
throw
say I
it
could
out
use the
there.
magnet ones because of the plate in your head, but you don't have a plate in your head, so that wouldn't have gone over well either.
All I want to do is start quoting Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, right here, the part right here.
Well, yeah, I can see the part in your hair right there. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Um, jerk.
Yes.
You and I arrived on Tuesday, which has kind of become our tradition. We like to
Mhm.
get in the day before so we can get a full night's sleep
Right.
before Vegas.
Needed.
This year, it didn't get screwed up by the airline. Um, so yeah, you and I planned for every possible outcome,
Right.
right? We said, all right, even if we get there late on Tuesday, we're still going to get there early enough to get a full night's sleep, blah, blah, blah. Even if we get there Wednesday morning, because of flight delays like happened the year at Bally's, we'll
Right.
be okay. This is the first year in a long time that everything went precisely as it should have.
It was awesome. We weren't flying together, which wasn't awesome. It was kind of weird. But both of our flights, both legs of both of our flights were flawless, on time, early. No turbulence, great service by the entire crew. I thought it was great. And when we got there, you were wonderful. You got there about an hour before I did. You arrived at the airport and you waited for me. So I came down the escalator and there you were over in the baggage area waiting for me to come in. And then we jumped in an Uber and headed over to the Rio, our old home away from home, and started a fun week of fun and frivolity, I should say.
You're using big words. I'm not prepared for this today.
I have my thesaurus right here.
That was one of the dinosaurs of the Paleolithic era, wasn't it?
Paleontology, something or other. Yes, absolutely.
In TNG, would that be xenopaleontology?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, they'd have a different separate deck where the dinosaur crew members are, just like the dolphins.
Cetaceans, Dan.
Sorry, cetaceans. I could have corrected myself, but I figured you would. Thanks.
Burley brings up a great point. Things might actually have gone smoothly because we didn't travel together.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Burley's right.
This just means that you've cursed me because before you ever started going, things used to go smoothly for me all the time. I think we have to talk first about the Rio. I want to mention last year first because last year the Rio was a shit show.
Yeah,
it was an unmitigated, crap fest. To be kind, it didn't. It looked like the first convention after the Rio. I'm not so sure that they even bothered keeping the place clean while it was
No.
closed during quarantine. Reduced staff.
Yeah.
Most of the restaurants were not open and certainly not open while people were there.
Yep.
They were only open on the weekends. We arrived at the Rio probably with, and correct me if I'm wrong, the lowest of expectations humanly possible. Is that a fair statement?
Not the lowest, because I had seen some stuff online about what they had done over the course of the last year. So I was going in thinking that it was going to be way better than last year. And it was, when you come right down to it, it was way better than last year. Starting with the fact that those big circular doors at the entrance actually work now, even though there's no revolving door. You can actually go in through those doors now.
Yeah, well, I arrived with the lowest expectations humanly possible. I should be clear about that. And as soon as you walked through the door, you were kind of greeted by the brand new Lapa Lounge, the former iBar, which I'm still going to call iBar from here
I'm
on
going to
out.
call it iBar forever because I can never remember, as you know, the name of the new bar.
Yeah, and a casino that is in the midst of renovation, and the parts that have already been done, I have to say, look pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, they really do. And that new bar was awesome. I really was impressed with it. You don't have the stairs anymore. You don't have the ramp that was on either side, or at least one side, and also kind of like cut into the bar area. So you lost some
Yep.
real estate to actually even be in the bar. It was great. Nice, very comfortable chairs and tables all the way around the bar. Did not sit at the bar, but there were a lot of chairs there. The staff was great. The drinks were fantastic there. All the new drinks that they had. And there was one particular bartender who we just loved. We hung with him a couple of times while we were there because he did a great job and he was very personable and was a nice guy. Don't remember his name though.
I don't remember his name either, but I will say the drinks were overpriced for the pours they gave you.
Oh, of course they were. Yeah,
but that's
Vegas.
for the downside conversation later. Check-in was probably the easiest it's gone.
Mhm.
The rooms were fantastic.
Very nice.
The new food court is a wonderful addition where things are Vegas affordable.
Mhm.
which I think is an important distinction to make. Because there's affordable, when you're at home, and then there's Vegas affordable because everything now costs an arm and a leg out there.
Right.
The new Starbucks right by the Ipanema Tower, it was a huge upgrade compared to that cart system they had in years previous.
Mhm.
Um, they clearly have been putting money back into this hotel, starting with the outside and then moving into the inside. And it shows, especially in the new renovated rooms, which is the best I've ever seen it look.
Awesome. They were very, very nice. They were clean, they were big. There was a nice big giant couch. I mean, we got 2 queens in our room because we share a room when we go. It's just more
Yeah,
affordable to do that. So we have the 2 queens. Big giant couch, which could probably sit like 8 or 9 people. Plus, it was a pull-out couch, so there was an
right.
extra bed in there. Gigantic TV, clean everything. Everything was clean in the room. The bathroom was all redone nice. The shower was a walk-in shower. It was absolutely fantastic. You looked like you had never seen a shower like that before. You were very excited to see that
I know.
three-quarter glass with no door. That was kind of
Yeah.
cool. And even had a little hole in the glass at the end so you could reach in and turn the water on without scalding yourself or freezing yourself when you turn the water on normally.
I thought that was the coolest little thing. Like I just bought a new house and I've got a walk-in shower, but it's got a full sliding door.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I saw that sort of three-quarter door and the little inlet to reach your hand in to turn the faucet on, I was like, "Did you see this? It's like Christmas."
And you could like
Um,
reach through and grab your towel that way if you really needed to.
the nice thing is that there's not this big hole or window in the wall to the bathroom, so
Yeah.
that the people where the beds are can see you dropping heat. Um,
Great. Thank you.
because it wasn't a frosted window before.
Yep.
Um,
True.
it was an octagonal window, and you could look right in and see somebody sitting on the toilet. It was not the best of situations.
Don't remember ever doing that. I'm going to be quite honest. I don't know if you did, but I know I didn't.
I've got plenty of pictures of you on the hopper, let's just say that. No,
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Um, yeah, the rooms were great. One thing I will say, and this may be something you were going to get into later. I'm going to say it again now. Rio staff, do your effing job better, please. Last year, I lost about $200 worth of clothing because the cleaning staff just decided to take some of my clothes and get rid of them. This year, you had something that was very important to the week and what we were doing with some other folks, and that got taken out of the room too and disposed of, destroyed, lost, or whatever. 2 years in a row that we've lost stuff in our room. I gotta say, if it's not your stuff, if it's not the Rio stuff, don't touch it, please.
I had a package of Avery labels, which were name tags for the newbie and solo travelers meetup, which happens every year, and we were partnering with Lambda Quadrant and the NX7062 transmissions to put on this event, and we were providing the name tags, which I got some Avery labels. I mocked them up in Photoshop. I printed them out on my printer, so they looked really nice.
Yeah,
And I left them on the sort of the credenza where the mini bar is, like on the end,
right.
because that meeting happens the Wednesday night, I believe.
Mhm.
For these people to get together and meet each other. And I came back Wednesday afternoon and said, "Oh, I must have left them down, in the vendor hall."
Nope.
Went back, didn't find them there in my backpack, so I came all the way back upstairs, tore that room apart.
Yeah, and
Noticed
then
that
I
our
did.
Yeah, noticed that our curtains had been opened.
Yep.
So I closed them. We got more towels, we got hand soap, which we hadn't had before. And the labels were nowhere to be found. Still have not found them. They're
Yeah.
gone. Luckily, that's the only thing because I mean, our tablets were out in the open.
Mhm.
I imagine it was picked up inadvertently and tossed.
Right. You just said it a second ago. And what I don't mean to bash. It's just probably the only couple of things that we'll have negative talk about. This is Las Vegas. Why on earth would you open those freaking curtains when you're cleaning the room? Or if you're opening them to let light in when you're cleaning, why are you not closing them? It's 117,000 degrees because of the sun on that glass. And that we had our air conditioner all the way down to 57 all week long, did not touch it, and it never got below 70 in that room.
Yeah, no, it never did. Um, so I mean, yeah, and these are the very few downsides that we had in our stay. The the HVAC, the things disappearing from our room.
Yeah,
Um, really, that's about it.
that's about it.
Um,
Yep.
Everything else was well, and I would say the quality at Hash House has stepped down just a little bit. They're not using like roasted corned beef anymore. They're using like deli corned beef in their
Yeah.
hash.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest change. And that may be a sourcing issue or whatever. Who knows?
Right.
But all in all, I was very impressed with the facility at the hotel at the Rio. I was very impressed with all of the changes they made. The food at the food court was fantastic.
It was very good. It was like you said, it was Vegas affordable, and there were like 7 or 8 different choices in that food court. First of all,
Yeah,
I can't imagine. I remember the buffet place that was there before, and it seemed to be
yeah,
a never-ending section of the Rio where you just like it went on and on and on and on forever. This
yeah.
was kind of a nice, comfortable, cozy location where you had 7 or 8 different choices of various kinds of foods to choose from, and we tried it at least 3 of them, and all of them were good.
Yeah, and, nothing tasted like it was, frozen, you know, uh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, before everybody would go to Smash Burger upstairs,
Mhm.
and I felt like the options were at least on par with that or even a little better.
I would agree with that as well. Yeah, the burger that we had, I forget the name of the burger place, but the burger that was awesome. It was really good. I forget it was a cute little logo of like a bun with eyes and a smiley face, but I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately.
Thanks for
Uh,
that in-depth analysis, really,
it
that was
was
amazing.
it's good
Yeah.
description because now people are actually picturing a bun with eyes and a smile. I get all of you watching right now. I know you're all doing that. I could
Yeah,
draw it for you, but I
the
don't have a
dozens.
pad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, the half dozen.
Half
No.
dozen, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it is the middle of the afternoon. I will say, I do know that our good friend and senior producer of Trek Geeks is watching right now at the dinner table, I might add, because I just got a picture from mom. He's at the dinner table with his phone watching this very podcast
Hold on, I gotta
in
say,
England. Yeah, you don't have any
let's see.
message because no, no, absolutely not. Oh,
Yeah,
gee, no, you don't.
yeah, no, I don't have crap. Um, Thanks, Kate.
Sorry.
Uh,
Hey, one thing I wanted to say also about
just
the
kidding.
Rio, with the with the construction. They're doing a great job dealing with areas that they are still doing construction. Now, anybody who knows the layout of the Rio, when you're coming from the Ipanema Tower, first off, let me say what they did with Starbucks and that gift shop is fantastic. The gift shop used to be the entire length of that wall, and they cut it down to like a quarter, and you can
Yeah.
still fit everything in there, and it was great. And then you have this gigantic Starbucks, which was awesome, except ridiculously understaffed. But as you walk away from the tower area and you're heading towards the convention, you're going to pass the cashier's cage on your left. And there's all construction there. So everything was up with black curtains and tarps and everything. Very narrow to walk through. And they took all of the slot machines that were in that area that's now covered and squished them all into another area. So it was pretty crowded around that area, but traffic seemed to flow pretty well throughout the week, and I was actually surprised by that.
Yeah, agreed. In that section, they're replacing not just the carpet, but also the electrical and the data lines. If you peek behind that curtain that's there, it's bare concrete.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lot of work. I think they're putting in new ceiling framework as well, which I think is great. And
Yep.
probably upgrading camera systems since I would imagine that those were original with the Rio. Um, and now
Film
there's
strip.
high, yeah, yes, VHS actually. One picture every 8 seconds or whatever it is that the banks used to do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, all in all, the Rio used to be kind of a garbage hotel to me.
Yeah.
I would actually stay there now if it had a cheap rate,
Yeah.
for personal reasons. It would actually was not. I enjoyed my stay for the first time.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear it. I know that in the past I've wanted to stay there because I was doing cosplay or something, and it just is easier to be where all of the action is instead of having to worry about taxis and Ubers. And there was one night, I don't even know what night it was. We got back to the Rio from going to dinner, and the line for the taxi I've never seen as long as it was. It went from the taxi stand location all the way across the front of the Rio around the side of the building. I've never seen anything like that before.
I think it was because Penn and Teller got out.
Ah,
they're usually after a big show, you'll see a long line like that at a taxi place, and they certainly are a draw.
Yeah.
If you've never seen the Penn and Teller show, seriously, you will be entertained more than you ever think you would be. They put on one hell of a show. I've seen them 3 times. And they show you how other magicians in Vegas do some tricks, and then they show you illusions that blow your mind.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, how in the hell can they possibly do that?
Yeah. I would love
So,
to see them at some point, based on the fact that you've seen them 3 times.
yeah.
And everybody who's seen the show says it's just one of the best shows in Vegas, which is incredible. That's one of the things that I like about what they're doing with the Rio. The Rio is, in my mind, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, you're better at Vegas than I am. It's off the strip. It's like way at the top, I would call it, which is probably wrong. I don't know if it's east, west, north, or south, but it seems to be away from everything else. And there's always been discussion of whether or not it was going to be torn down, because that's where a baseball stadium might go. But the new ownership has put a lot of money into it, and it looks like it's going to be there to stay. And they're doing a fantastic job. And I really commend the fact that they are making these improvements so that we and all kinds of other people have a place to go that is safe and affordable and clean.
Affordable?
Of course, as our friend Haley says, there's always the Gold Coast. Go to the Gold Coast. That's
I'm
right
sorry,
there.
the Mold Coast?
Wow. Now see, now you're going to get in trouble with that. She's going to be
No, I'm not, because when we stayed there that one year, we actually did have mold in our
We did.
bathroom.
We
So,
actually did. That's true. You are correct.
yeah. Not to correct you at all, but believe it or not, the Rio is almost in the dead center of the strip. It's west of the 15, so it's off the strip by what, 3/4 of a mile or so. But the Flamingo and the Bellagio were pretty much dead center strip.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, it seems that everything is close yet far. And I get very confused as where, and whenever we would get in an Uber to go somewhere, I hadn't the slightest idea what direction we were headed in. I just looked for the giant Rio sign whenever we were coming back, because it was very bright and pretty.
Haley says my room was super nice both times. Well, next time that's where we're crashing then. No, kidding. I'm kidding.
There you go. Yeah. No, so all in all, good improvements at the Rio. The only thing that hasn't improved is it really still is a 37.5 mile walk from the casino to the convention itself. That has not changed at all. They need to put some freaking moving escalators or something in there.
Moving sidewalks?
Sidewalks, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I almost just spit coffee all over the camera. I want to just be upfront about that. I expected you were going to say $37.5 cab ride to everywhere else.
No.
Which is only partially true. It's only
That's
about
true.
27.
It's a long walk, and especially you talked about it a few minutes ago. You have to walk back to the room to tear it apart to see if you could find those labels. I did the same thing, walking back down. We averaged in Vegas 16,500 steps a day.
Yeah. That first day where we were setting up, we had considerably more.
Yeah.
And the day where we were searching, the next day where we were searching for the packet of Avery labels, I want to say I had about 24,000 steps, because I'd walk back and forth several times. But you do get your steps in Vegas, and that's good, because you should get all the exercise you can when it's 111 degrees outside.
That was the low, I think.
I get it that Creation has many conventions at the Rio. They do Supernatural, they do a couple of others, but August is not exactly great in Vegas.
Nope.
Can't they just give us one in February? Come on.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, we've talked about it before. Living in New England, you're going to get the heat, but you get the humidity, and that's pretty brutal. But I'll tell you what, when you're inside an air-conditioned convention center for 3 days, and then or for 2 days, and then you walk out one afternoon to go get into an Uber, it literally is walking into a heat wall. It's like, boom. And it was especially that when we had our kickoff for the Trek Talks party over at the Delano. Is that how you pronounce it?
Sure.
Because we walked out of there into the sun and the heat at like 3 in the afternoon. And that was just like, oh my God, I'm going to burst into flames right now.
It was so hot that the heat rash that we get every year while we're there started within hours of our arrival.
Yeah. Yep. I noticed it like 2 hours after we got there. Yeah.
Normally
Yeah.
it's a few days in.
Yeah.
But Christina brings up a great point. It was cooler in Vegas than in Phoenix. I don't know how
Oof.
you do it, Christina.
Wow.
I could not do it. Not once.
Maybe that's why she was on time, because it was so hot in Phoenix. They really wanted to get up to Vegas real fast.
She got a tailwind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was 119 on Tuesday after the con. Burley says that's toasty.
That's about what it was with humidity in North Carolina when I got home. And then I came home to a tropical storm, which is another story for another time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I think that the vendor hall experience was not bad, but this year was marred by a break-in in the vendor hall,
Yeah.
which, some people got a vendor, lanyard somehow, at least according to the reports. They got into the vendor hall at 4 a.m. Security let them in, and they stole about $21,000 worth of merchandise and materials.
I thought it was actually more than that, because I thought one of the things that got taken was a giant framed picture of the Enterprise, one of the Enterprises, with tons and tons of signatures on it that retailed for $28,000. And I didn't see it again after that break-in. So I didn't know if that got taken also.
That has not been reported by TrekCore. TrekCore reposted a posting on Facebook from one of the vendors that was burglarized. Perhaps that was taken in addition. Sorry, this one vendor's total loss was $21,000.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
My apologies. So it's very possible that the total losses could have been much more.
I've said it before. First of all, it's a Star Trek convention, and you wouldn't think that there are still people like that. People are nice. Humanity sucks. That's my new mantra, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yep.
Las Vegas Metro PD do have suspects in custody, which is good.
That's good.
At least according to this update from the one vendor that TrekCore reposted on their Facebook page. Springtime Creations was the vendor. But still it's a horrible story, because how many tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars of merch are in that vendor hall, and how much, of money or whatever else, people's personal possessions, I'm sure some vendors next year are probably going to sleep in the vendor hall just to ensure that their stuff doesn't get ripped off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you leave the vendors hall thinking that everything's safe. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the stuff that was stolen was stuff that had autographs and things on it.
I don't know, to be honest.
I thought I heard that when people were talking about it. Luckily, Fansets, who has several autograph pins on their table, they did not get hit, which was nice. But I really feel bad for the people that do, because you go there to make money and to sell your product, and have scumbags break in and steal stuff. And I hope that if these are the people that are in custody, if they are the ones that are guilty, I hope they are prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Absolutely. And we can only hope that, either the merchandise is recovered or their insurance makes them whole. But what a horrible experience for those vendors who spend money to exhibit in that vendor hall.
Exactly.
It costs us money to be in that vendor hall every year. It costs Fansets money. Everyone who has a table in that vendor hall, including celebrities, are paying for the ability to do so. You know what? That is actually a true statement.
It is. It's a very true statement.
Yep. Our dear friend Willow, Camp Kittimer, longtime participator, made us homemade cookies. And after that robbery, the cookies were nowhere to be found. So we're pretty sure. Yeah. So at least they have good tasting cookies.
True. That's true, because they were good. I had one. I get that one. I think she brings like 24. I had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just in the containers and everything. It's not like they took, the cookies and made off with them in their pockets. No, they took the full containers.
You don't want to have dirty pockets when you're stealing cookies, I guess. I don't know.
Well, there was a time when I would have thought that at the Rio, people having cookies in their pockets was the least egregious thing. Now the Rio seems kind of upscale.
Yes. Yeah, pish posh. Yeah,
by comparison.
yeah, absolutely.
The best thing to say about the Rio now is it's not Circus Circus.
Well, I've never been there. I've never been in there,
You
but
don't
I've
want
heard a
to.
lot of bad things about there. We were joking. You were joking about it at some point during the week. And I'm like, okay, I never need to go there.
I'm pretty sure that if you wind up at Circus Circus, you're going to wind up on a list the police check regularly. But that's just me.
All right. Point
Yeah.
taken.
Yeah. Um, the vendor hall was probably the busiest that I have seen it throughout the convention
Mhm.
since the 50th anniversary 8 years ago. I'm pretty convinced of that because it was wall to wall and asses and elbows pretty much all weekend long.
Yeah, it really was. We were wondering how it was going to be last year when we got back to the Rio, and we saw that a lot of the vendor tables, the way the vendor room was changed, or it was changed so that the center of the vendor's room was pretty much all Star Trek stars to do their autographs and selfie sessions. So I mean, just the entire middle was changed completely. There were barely any vendors in there at all. Same this year, and I like that they do that because it takes away from a lot of lines blocking other vendors. If you're in line
Right.
to get, like, say, Chase Masterson's autograph and there's a line and you're a vendor, you got people that can't get to see your product because you get people waiting in line to get an autograph. And I think that wasn't a good way to set it up. It was a disaster like that at Bally's. They did not have a good setup at all. I think it's gotten better over the 2 years that the Rio was done it that way, and I thought it was great. But yeah, you're right. It was ridiculously busy starting Wednesday when people could start coming in
Preview.
Wednesday night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Fansets table, which rightfully so because they're the best one out there. They had 6 people deep for like 5 rows of waiting to get in to see all the different
It was
pens
crazy.
pins. And it was like that everywhere. I walked around a couple times. Everybody was busy. It was great to see, and you're absolutely right. I think it was the busiest it's been since the 50th.
Even on Thursday, the first day of the con, that vendor hall had a buzz and an energy. People were excited to be back
Mhm.
because we weren't at Bally's. It wasn't a strike year, so people could actually talk
Yeah,
about Star Trek. And it truly since 2019, before the pandemic, it was the first year that everything felt normal. And by
yeah,
normal, I mean the way it should be at STLV. Um, that really just sort of made it right off the bat an STLV to remember.
yeah.
I was personally disappointed that we didn't have any content in the convention this year.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't take it as a slight by any means, but we've been doing this now for almost 10 years. We've had panels each of the last 3 or 4 STLVs,
Mhm.
depending on how you look at it. One year we were actually an invited guest. And this year, nothing.
Right.
I get it. But just to have something like that on top of really the buzz and the energy in the convention, I think would have made it 100 times better for me personally.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel. It was nice to have the break, don't get me wrong. But still, I harbor the slightest bit of disappointment that we didn't get to we didn't get to put on a show for people. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, that bothered me. It bothered me quite a bit. And I'm not trying to put us up on a pedestal or pat ourselves on the back. We've been doing this for a long time. We're known. And I kind of think that we're pretty good at what we do. And we've had successful panels in the past. And I know that it was new people making the schedule this year. I know that some people weren't invited to participate at all and everything. I get that. I missed it. I loved, like the Stump the Geek panel that we did last year, something that stands out. I thought it was so much fun. And then the year that we had Billingsley show up on stage, crash our panel that we were doing. It's a lot of fun. I did like the break of not having to, get my mind ready for it and prepare for it. Cause even though we're just sitting there talking, you do have to psych yourself up because you're going to be sitting on a stage and hundreds of eyes are going to be looking at you. And that can be a little daunting at times. Um, with that being said, I'm glad that we had a lot of people from the network that were able to do stuff and have panels and were unbelievably successful with them. It was great to see. Lori up on stage, Tamia from the Sisters up on stage doing an incredible interview with David Jalla and Sonequa Martin Green on Sunday. And it was good to see that representation. Not only did we not have anything to do from a convention standpoint, Bill, besides just being in the vendor's room, meeting fans, meeting listeners, meeting friends, reuniting with family, we didn't have our party. That was probably the biggest bummer of the entire time that we were out in Vegas last week.
Yeah, it really was. I want to double back before I come back to the no party thing for a second. I can't tell you how incredibly proud I am of our sci-fi sisters who completely took their little corner of the vendor hall and lit it up like it was the place to be. They had their own booth, they had their own merch, they were killing it over there. They had all kinds of people stop by, but on top of it, like you mentioned, Tamia and her main stage panel. With Sonequa and David. You and I have never done a main stage panel. I was I was the tiniest bit envious. I was immensely proud. And I gotta say, Tamia, you killed it.
Absolutely killed it.
You really took that conversation to a different level, a level that certainly creation has never been able to do before. And I'm so happy that you got to have that moment because you really just shined.
She really did. We didn't get to see it, but we heard all kinds of people talking about it.
You did. I was waiting in line for Shatner.
Oh, that's right. You were. Yeah, that's right. Shatner. I did not get to see it, but everybody was coming in talking about it. That's right. I forgot you did get to see it. What was incredible is we were over at the Sci-Fi Sisters table while that was wrapping up and after it finished, and Tamia came up to the table, and when she did, the whole place around their table erupted into applause and cheers. And I really think it took her by surprise. It was amazing. She is awesome. I'm going to say right now, Bill, we've talked about it privately. Having the Sci-Fi Sisters join our Trek Geeks family is probably the best decision we have ever made for the network. I mean, every single one of our shows that we have on the network is fantastic. There's something special. I love all of them so much. They are so fun to be around and to be with, and their passion is infectious. And I'm glad that they got to have their spotlight this con, and I hope it continues in future cons as well.
And it's just a joy you can't contain from them, nor should you try because it's infectious. If you don't subscribe to their YouTube channel, they're doing some exciting things over there with Sci-Fi Sisters Inc. Obviously, their audio podcast still and forever a part of the Trek Geeks network. But their live stuff and their video shows that they're adding from other contributors are absolutely top shelf. So you should absolutely check them out on their YouTube channel. I can agree with this, Burley. Everything is much better than Farkisms.
That's bullshit. I call bullshit.
Circus is much better than Farkisms.
Wow. I'm just gonna throw my little thing away. Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
So yeah, going back to the fact that there was no party. That probably was the most intense bummer.
Easily.
But we tried not to languish in that too much because we really could have let that sort of take our weekend down a notch. We could have been depressed all weekend long because I know you've looked forward to that in particular for the last several years. In fact, last year you said it was the only thing that kept you wanting to go to STLV. This year it was one of the only things that kept you wanting to go to STLV. So the fact that we didn't have it was a bummer. However, Dan, there were folks who made probably one of the kindest gestures toward us. And I know that this is the kind of thing that you want to talk about at length. In fact, he's reaching for it now. Mine is downstairs, but I know you want to talk about this at length. Mine is downstairs, but I'll let you take it from here.
I don't know how to even start with this. We were bummed out. I've been under a tremendous amount of pressure and stress lately with my company layoff and looking for a new job. I didn't even think I was going to go to STLV. I talked to you days before and said, I can't go. I just can't do it. And we talked and I decided to go. I had some tough days, but I'm glad I went. but not having the party was something that just added on to that stress. And unknown to us, Kaylia, our dear friend Kaylia, um, did some stuff and got in contact through Camp Kittimer, and our dear admins Haley and Jackie helped her out with putting together something for you and I. And this is amazing. It's just a little picture scrapbook with pictures of people in Camp Kittimer and all our friends and people that we love so much. And they put this together both for you and I. Now this is all hand done by Kaylee. All of the stripes for the Rio, all of this looks just like our party pin that we had this year. Did this all by hand, and people sent pictures and sent messages. And then once we were presented with these, people came up to the table to sign their own comments. And this is something that I will treasure forever. And it's going to sit right there all the time on my Star Trek bookshelf, because the amount of love that went into this is something that I don't know if I can ever really put into words. And I would like anybody who is part of Camp Kittimer or a Patreon, if you were not at Vegas, if you want to contribute to doing this for Bill and I'd be more than happy to add your stuff to it. So if you can see here, for people who are actually watching, there were some ones that were just printed out and attached by glue or whatever onto a particular picture. Email me your comments to dan@trekgeeks.com, and I will be happy to add your comments to this book, because it's something that I want to fill up and build, because it meant more than I can possibly tell everybody.
And beyond that, the only time it's not going to be at your shelf is when you bring it to Vegas next
Right.
time you're there,
Right.
which I will do the same.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to make this sort of an annual thing until it's absolutely filled. Because I'm not going to lie, I got a little misty eyed when I got mine, and I'm sure you did when you got yours. Because it's just a great demonstration of the community that we've
Yeah.
built with you all as partners, because we don't just do this alone. We can't do any of this without all of you. And it was probably the highlight of the weekend for me, quite frankly.
It really was. It was amazing. I should say that we didn't know. We kind of had an idea that something was going on, but we had no idea, because there was a post on Camp Kittimer a few weeks prior from Haley that said, "Hey, everybody, check your messages." So I'm like, "Is everything okay? Because I didn't get a message. Is there a problem?" She's like, "Nope, everything's fine. I'm just testing something out," or something along those lines. I didn't think anything of it, but that was a secret group chat in Camp Kittimer that they all put together so that they could plan this, and they did it in like 2 weeks. Just absolutely amazing. And that shows that all the people that took the time to send the pictures so that they could be made into 2 thick books. This is like 50, 60 pages thick. Is really incredible. So not only that, Haley's being a smart ass. Not only that, the people knew that I was having a tough time. I got to give special props while we're talking about this fantastic scrapbook. I got to give props to people like Willow for the care packages that she gave us, including those cookies that we already talked about. And especially to Sarah and Andy, who were unbelievably gracious with their time and support when I was having a particularly bad day. And I got this thing in my hand right here, and it's a fidget thing that Sarah made just because I'm always fidgeting around when we're sitting here recording. She took the time to make this for me. It's got rice in it. It's got a little marble in the center. Freaking thing. I'm always trying to feel the marble by getting it by itself, and it's always a little tricky. But I love it. That friendship and that bond that we have made with people is why I love doing this podcast, and why I love going to Vegas, and why I need to go to Vegas every year. It was very, very special.
It really was. Every year I'm kind of, re-energized. I've talked about this, more than a few times. Vegas gets me going to do this for another year, right? You kind of, I kind of look at Vegas as our Super Bowl of sorts. It's the end of our season. We get re-energized to do this again, and it carries us through right, into the next year. and into springtime. So by the time we get to summer, we're in total Vegas mode.
Yep.
And there hasn't been a Vegas that's ever been like this one,
Mhm.
on so many levels. It's probably for me is among my favorite trips to Vegas of all
Yeah.
time for
Yeah.
this con, because it truly meant that much to me. I'm glad we went. I'm glad you got to go, despite everything I've told people in public. Um, Dan, I don't know if you see the ticker below. This just in:
Yeah, I saw it.
carcasses are worse than Circus Circus verified.
Yeah, you can suck it. I forgot to mention Kalia in my talk just a minute ago. She and Jay, they're the definition of why I love the Star Trek family. They care. They're there for you when you need them. They were just phenomenal. So I just got to thank all the people that came up and gave me words of encouragement. And this freaking I cannot talk about that enough and how awesome that book is that everybody put together. Just amazing.
Yeah, it really is cool. Like I said, that we're bringing them next time. So,
Yeah, we absolutely are.
and Lord knows we have plenty of pens in our booth usually.
We do. And next year we're going to have more. I'm going to bring like 1,000 next year. I'm just going to say that right now.
Oh my
1,000.
goodness.
Yeah.
1,000 pens.
That way we can put out more than just like a dozen at a time because we have to make sure that we don't run out, which we didn't. I still have like 10.
I grabbed 10 off the table because I've never taken a pen.
Well, you should. They're pretty awesome pens.
Well, the guy who orders them is a bit of a jerk, but
yeah, but he does good pens.
The company that makes them does good pens. He makes moderately okay decisions. Yeah, see, I've totally lost my train of thought because now I'm thinking about pens, which leads me to pins, which leads me to the box I unpacked yesterday that has nothing but Fansets pins in it. And let me tell you, that box is friggin' heavy. We got to do touristy things this year.
We did. We did.
We had, of course, some great meals. We do an
Very
annual dinner at Gordon Ramsay Steak at Paris, Las Vegas every year that never disappoints. You actually skipped it last year to go to a show that you've always wanted to go to, but this year was, I don't think I've laughed that much in a long, long time, and I'm not sure you did either.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Long story. Not going to get into it.
Yeah, we can't get into it, but it's always such a great group of friends that we get to have that dinner with every year.
Yeah.
And then the following night, we actually went to a show.
Yes, we did.
Which we've never done. So
we've never done it before.
I asked you and I asked our dear friend and travel companion, Chris Mumfrey, who's at our booth with us pretty much all weekend long, all the time.
Yep.
If we wanted to go see a show, and I picked actually a burlesque show.
Yes.
Because I've never seen a classic, sort of Vegas style burlesque show. And we went to one at Flamingo called X Burlesque, and it was a great time, partly because of the artistry and the choreography, but the comedian that was in between sets.
Yeah, she was great.
Was fantastic, but it was a great, great show. I'm glad I picked it.
It really was a great show. I just cannot get over the athleticism of those ladies. They're just amazing to watch. And there was one particular aspect of the show which was really cool. It was like a disco aspect, and one of the girls dancing had these lasers on her hand. They were like circular lasers that changed colors, and she would shine up. It was so, it's hard to describe it. It was really, really cool. A lot of fun. That comedian, oh my God, I thought I was going to piss myself because I was laughing so hard. She was hysterical. We were not left alone. She got right. She got right at us. And it was fun. It was a funny time. And, I haven't been to a comedy show in a long time. And just from her doing the little short break in the middle between sets, I want to go see a comedy show now because I was dying.
Absolutely. Kaylee, by the way, to go back to the books, brings up a great point. There was also a book for Fansets, which she put together. Fantastic. People can add notes to that one as well. So absolutely. If you see Fansets at a show, ask them if you can sign their yearbook, which is what I'm calling it now.
The year. That's a great idea. Yearbook. Yep. The STLV yearbook. I love it. Okay.
Yeah. I wish I remembered the name of the comedian.
Nancy Ryan.
It wasn't.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But she, wasn't, anyone that, I've seen on, TV or anything. I imagine she works the circuit in Vegas.
Nancy
But
Ryan. She's a
okay.
comedian performing at X Burlesque. Her name is Nancy Ryan. She was
And
great.
she does a bit of insult comedy as well as
Yep.
some observational comedy. She was funny. She was perfect for that show.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
I enjoyed her very much. I wish I'd had a chance to meet her afterwards because she was that funny. So
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good show. And before that show, we actually got to have an incredible dinner at what many Vegas people say is the best Thai food restaurant in Vegas. And I love Thai and you love Thai, and it was pretty damn good.
I talk Thai very well.
Yeah. It was
Sorry,
awesome.
sorry. It's meet the parents quote, or pseudo quote. Yeah, we've been wanting to go to I mean, I was first introduced to this place by John Krikorian
Yep.
back when I was on a solo trip to Vegas for work. He and I had dinner there one night, and he's like, "Yeah, this is a place locals go to. So you don't find too many tourists here because they don't know about it. And now we know
Right.
why, because the
Yeah.
locals want to keep it to themselves and for
Yep.
good reason. Lotus of Siam, we'll tell our audience about it because
Yeah.
we love our audience. But if you get the chance to go while you're in Vegas, the food is fantastic. You will not regret it.
Duck
Uh,
curry. Huh. That's what I had. I literally drank the juice out of the bowl when I was done.
I usually judge it. I do this with most Asian food restaurants I go to. I usually will have the same dish my first time at each one.
Yeah.
Simply just to judge them. So, like, at a Chinese food restaurant, I'll usually have chicken lo mein the first time because it's kind of my baseline. And then at a Thai restaurant, I'll usually go with like a chicken pad Thai.
Mhm.
And I realized I'd never had the chicken pad Thai at Lotus, so I had it, and it's probably the best chicken pad Thai I've ever had in
Good.
my life.
Yep.
So phenomenal, quite
It was
frankly.
it was awesome. And I will also say that the company that we had at that dinner was extremely special. We had the good fortune of having Michelle Specht sit at our table to do autographs and selfies with her fans. And so we went to dinner with her, and it was one of the highlights of the trip. It's the first time that she's been back in Vegas for 5 years. She had
Yeah.
a fantastic time. She is always. I wish she just would, be a little bit more energetic, to be honest with you, because she's really kind of dull and kind of boring.
Yeah, I know what you mean. She's so withdrawn and so much. She's in a shell. It's like, she's a total introvert.
We kid. She is like she is like a Big Bang Theory explosion of energy, and that's when she's having a bad day. But she was so much fun. It was great to get together with her again, spend time, catch up, and that's what's so great about STLV. Sometimes we only get to see these people once a year, and in the case with Michelle, it's the first time in 5 years, and that's what makes these trips extra special for me. Is reconnecting with the people that we don't get to see as often as we would like to.
Yeah, and uh, we talk about how it's our Star Trek family reunion. I think it was probably the most true in that sense this year.
Yeah.
We see people we see every year, which we love. We got to see people this year we hadn't seen in years, and it was that much better.
Mhm.
It was a great time to reconnect with people, especially Michelle, some other folks that wandered by the booth aimlessly, like, "Who are you guys? Oh yeah, I remember you." Um, People who lifted their temporary restraining orders on us, which was
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah. Norabelle and
Oh,
Michael, probably two of
yeah,
them.
actually, I lifted my TRO on you, which is great. Um, now you can come within 25 feet of me, and I'm really
Then
not
not
thrilled
that I
about
would
it.
really want to, but I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
yeah. Um, all in all, I would call it a hugely, hugely successful trip.
Yeah.
I'm re-energized. I'm ready to do this. We're getting ready to slide into Trek Talks mode. But I'm ready to do a whole lot more Trek Geeks, which, I haven't really been able to say
Yeah.
the last several years. So not that I
Yeah.
haven't wanted to, I
Yep.
just haven't had the mental capacity to.
Agreed. It's funny that you say Trek Talks, because you little bastard, you put me to work because of Trek Talks. But I had fun with it, so I guess I won't be mad at you. But every year we get together to host or to have our annual Trek Talks kickoff party, which is thrown by one of our dear friends, Amy. And you were talking to her and her friend about the party and the fact that I like to make martinis as a hobby. And so all of a sudden I became the bartender for this event. So I was bartending all night at the party, and I can't say that it wasn't fun because it was a blast. we created a special Star Trek themed list of drinks that unfortunately we went through in like a half an hour. Gone. There were no more. We ran out of everything because everybody wanted them. So
Yeah, by the
next year
time I got there on the second party bus, they were all gone.
they were gone. I'm like, we didn't order enough vodka. So next year we will make sure that we have a lot more so that everybody can partake in the accoutrement.
Even if that's not the right word for that.
No, it's not at all.
Even if we have to contribute to the party fund, I'm
Yeah.
happy to do it to ensure that I get a fucking drink. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah. Did you get a shot at least? Did you get one of the shots?
No, I didn't.
Oh, all right. Well, you know,
No.
you're an angry drunk, so I'm glad.
I got I got one of your made up concoctions after you ran out of vodka, which was okay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we had, instead of using the raspberry vodka, we substituted vanilla vodka, and for some reason, everybody liked it. So okay.
Raspberry vanilla, you know, they taste so much alike. No, they don't.
Somebody said
No,
use the vanilla. It's kind of like making it a Hawaii drink. I'm like, all right, but it worked. So okay.
well, I mean, you had enough blue curacao there to kill a small village, or at least make it look like Smurf Town.
We didn't run out of that. That's for sure.
No, I can tell. I love blue curacao. If
Yeah.
there's a drink that has blue curacao in it, I will order it.
Yeah.
Even if it has coconut in it, because I love blue curacao. Half the reason why I wanted to go to Curacao on my cruise the last time, and I did. So,
is there actually a blue curacao factory there?
A distillery? There is.
Oh, okay.
There is. They make a great many things there. The blue curacao liqueur is just one of the things they do.
Gotcha.
So they also do lotions, hand sanitizers, other spirits.
Okay.
Figure they got enough alcohol on the property. Why not make hand sanitizer?
Yeah. Sound like a plan.
Yeah.
I've never been there. So okay.
I have. I've wanted to go since I used to see those Crimson Travel commercials on Channel 56 in the 70s. You know, they'd show you where you could go with Crimson Travel, and Curacao would always come up with those brightly colored buildings. And as a kid, I'm like, I want to go there. So I finally went.
Well, congratulations. I'm glad you did. You didn't bring me anything though.
I brought you me. That's gift enough.
That's right. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Yeah. And so convincingly you uttered that statement. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. So all in all, now that I feel like Vegas is back on track and some of these other smaller cons that are happening, if you have the opportunity, if you have the budget, if you have the vacation time to go to Vegas, I think you should avail yourself of the opportunity if it's doable, because it's not like any other convention you're ever going to go to. In its energy, in its programming, in the people that you'll see. The experience alone, I think, really sets Vegas on a different level as far as conventions go.
Yeah, I agree. I want to point out one thing. I have talked to you. There is a chance that I may not be at next year's STLV, but I'm not saying that definitely at all. But there is a chance. If I am there, Bud, and we do go and we travel together to the airport and from the airport, because we'll be on different flights again, I'm gonna request something of you right now here on today's podcast. The day we leave, we don't go to bed. We just don't, because we went to bed at like 11 o'clock the day before we left, and we were in the lobby to get in our Uber at 2:40. Why did we even bother going to bed?
Why do we go to bed?
We were walking through to the lobby to go out, and in the bar, the Sci-Fi Sisters were still there partying. Amy was there partying. Why did we even bother going to bed? Because I was more tired for the fact that we went to bed for 3 freaking hours, and we should have just stayed up. I slept. I don't think I have ever slept on a plane the entire length of the flight, but I slept from Vegas to Chicago, did not wake up once.
So you're telling me the strategy is when we arrive in Vegas to get a good night's sleep the first night, when we leave Vegas to get no sleep at all, so that it all balances out.
Exactly. I think that is a fantastic idea.
I've never thought of you as really exhibiting all that much logic before. But I have to say, for everything, there is a first time. Wouldn't you agree, Admiral?
Yep. Absolutely. It happens once in a blue Curacao moon. It'll happen, buddy.
We're going to use that phrase from now on. Once in a blue Curacao moon. Write that down.
All right. Hashtag it. Do it.
Because I'm going to forget, quite
I
honestly.
can't put it on X because I'm not on X, but you know what I mean.
Neither am I anymore.
Good. Congratulations. Best news I've heard all week.
Yep. I'm old. I forget things. I can tell you my childhood telephone number. I cannot tell you what I just was going to say.
I don't think I snorted on the plane.
Would you care?
I wouldn't care because that's just the way I am. I may have snorted a little bit, on an inhale, kind of like but I don't know if I did or not because I was sleeping. So there you go.
Yeah, I've reached this phase in life. If I wind up snoring on the plane and somebody doesn't wake me up, that's on them.
Right. Yep.
I'm going to try, to mitigate that because theoretically I shouldn't because I'm sitting up.
Right.
And I usually don't recline my seat. Not that it really goes that far.
That
2 degrees, I don't. Yeah. But I've got a neck pillow and everything, so my head stays in one place. Theoretically, I shouldn't snore, but if I do, there's really not much I can do. Either wake me up or put on your noise canceling headphones
before you go.
No, no. I can tell you never, ever am I going to want to listen to Wham or even reference it.
No, I have my headset on and I have the fan noise playing in my headset, so I fell asleep like a baby, and we were on Final Approach when I woke up. I think it was like less than 5 minutes when I woke up before we touched down in Chicago, or I touched down. It was pretty great.
Yeah, I had a stop in Dallas, which wasn't bad. I wasn't there very long, maybe less than an hour.
Yep.
And I slept on both of my legs. Once I got to Raleigh, it was hotter than the hinges on the gates of hell with humidity.
Oh, okay, that's pretty warm.
Yes, it was. Let me tell you. But we'll talk about Tropical Storm Debbie in the outtake a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, this is exactly how I feel when I hear Dan's voice, Burley.
What?
It's nothing but Z's. The comment is,
maybe that's me electrocuting you. I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, all right.
You're not that smart. I think you'd electrocute yourself before
there was
you
actually
ever
a villain
by accident.
There was actually a villain in the Incredible Hulk comic book called Zax, and he was an electricity monster. And he was
called what?
Zax. Yep. I'll see if I can find him online.
Yeah, please. That would be just so scintillating.
What a dick.
Could you detect the level of sarcasm with which I just did that?
See, Jade, you stayed up for this shit? I don't know what you're doing. Okay. Well, actually, it's not bedtime over there yet, is it? It's not. It's only like 9 o'clock.
I think you mean Jude.
Jude. I said Jade. Sorry. Jude. Hey, Jude. Don't look back.
Jude, I don't know. You don't even know the song. You hate the Beatles.
I do.
Jude, I don't know why he's your favorite. He just forgot your name for
it's not so much
crying out loud.
Okay. First of all, I didn't forget his name. Second of all, it's me. I can't say my own name right from time to time. Dumb.
Dumb.
Maybe I mixed up Kate with, I don't know, whatever. I own it. I made a mistake. It happens every single episode.
Yeah, I made a mistake 10 years ago.
317 episodes back.
So, hey, Dan, you want to do a podcast? I should have just kept that thought to myself. I just
think of how much non-fun you would have had these past 10 years, pal.
I used to go to Vegas without you and been perfectly happy. At least if you don't go next year, I might actually get to stay in a hotel I love.
Well, you're going to stay at the Rio anyway, right? You talked about it a minute ago. You talked about it.
I said I would stay there.
Well, yeah.
But if Coconut is paying for it, then I'm going to stay somewhere I really love.
Okay.
I'm going to have a suite at the Aria.
Delano. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No. I don't know if I'll stay at the Rio next year if you're not going. If you are, I will. But
I'll tell you what, one of the other things we talked about was, how I have always wanted to do a cosplay of Q from season 2 of Picard with that black suit that he's got and just looks fantastic. That might happen.
You'd have to actually have your ass in Vegas for that to go.
I'll tell you what, if this goes through and I'm able to get this made by my dear friend Brooke, I might be there. just for that, if anything, because
Yeah, so
I have wanted to do that. I don't give a
it's
shit about you, man. I'm going to
it's
where the
not our
cause go.
patrons, it's not our campers that you would go to see, not our dear friends at Fansets,
That's a
not our new
given.
friend at Section 31 Supply,
That's a
not
given.
our sisters or anyone else on the network. You
Given.
would go for your stupid cosplay. All right, whatever.
Wow. Way to make me feel guilty. Thank you.
You know
Now
what
I'm
else
not going.
makes Dan feel guilty? The band 5-year mission. No,
Nice segue. Very, very good.
no,
Actually, that was a pretty good segue.
thank you. Thank you. I'm a master of segues. I really
Mm,
am. And I
I
mean
never had one.
the literary kind, not the kind
Oh,
you ride.
not the two-wheeler. Okay.
Yeah, no, I can't even walk. What makes people think I could get on a motorized thing where it's controlled by
I,
how I lean?
I would pay money to
No,
watch you try to use one of those things.
I
Like on a dock near the ocean.
kiss my ass. I'd pay money to watch you do one of those things because you would crack your head open.
My balance is like nothing else.
It's like nothing because it's not there.
Wow, it's fun.
Wow. Anyway,
Yeah.
we do love the band 5-year mission. We're so grateful for letting us use their music each and every week here on Trek Geeks. Um, all those albums. There's year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, Spock's
Mm.
Brain. Rumor has it they're working on some new tracks on year 5 right now. If you follow them on social, you can see them rehearsing some stuff. It's pretty awesome.
Bye
But
bye.
in the meantime, get on out to 5yearmission.net. Get all of those albums in your hot little hands, like right here.
Right
Like
there.
pretend that this is a 5-year mission CD. Get it right in your hand. And that way you can pop them in your CD player, listen to them, and become a huge fan because we all know that physical media is so important.
It was a tricorder.
5yearmission.net. Go get those albums, yo.
I love it. So I I have a very short Farkism this week because obviously
Because you didn't prepare.
bad as a circus. No, I didn't because I was doing, important stuff like trying to find a job. But I do have something. You and I and Chris, our friend Mumphrey, started to watch Savage Curtain in the hotel room one night.
We
didn't
did.
get very far because everybody was falling asleep. It had been a long day. One of
'Cause
the
we're
best
old.
parts about watching Star Trek together is that it turns into like Mystery Science Theater 3000, and we just just like start making fun of different things, which is great. But I've got a very short Farkism based on Savage Curtain. It's not good. It's one of my not as good ones, but here we go. Help me, Fark. Help me, Fark. That's all I got.
That
5-year mission, ladies and gentlemen.
No, we're not done. I like the fact that you admitted that it wasn't good for the first time ever. It took 317 damn episodes for you to admit that these things suck. Okay, quick. What's better, Circus or the Farkism Dan used today?
Ooh.
Just yeah.
Well, that wasn't a bad one. I mean,
It certainly was not good, my friend.
I'm gonna have to go with the Farkism because I've heard some bad things about Circus. So
I'm gonna go with Circus was better.
wow.
And that's only because they serve alcohol.
Well, you could drink alcohol while I'm doing my Farkism.
Lord knows I want to. Yeah. 5yearmission.net. Go get all of that stuff. Yo, I'm telling you.
Yo.
Dan, of course, we hope everybody takes the time to check out our Patreon.
Yes.
Which is, of course, where you can get all kinds of special exclusive perks, like watching this live cast that's going on sort of right now.
I can't say that that's wrong. You get to participate. You get to have a great time. It's a lot of fun. Always additional perks. People who showed up in STLV got to get their Patreon pin for this year early, and a lot of people liked it. So there's all kinds of fun stuff. But right now, we want to take a moment. We want to thank our associate producers for Trek Geeks. We so much appreciate each and every one of you, and they are Vikram Bhatt, Chad Clark, Corey Clay, Brad DeMag, William Edward M. Jr., Andy Fark, Kimberly Francis, Jonathan Hamilton, Ryan Jeffs, Sean Lynn, Rick Mason, Jamie McGregor, Ross McKinney, Aaron Mollenkoff, Sarah Ledoux, Helen Reed, Sarah Rutlinger, Tim Robertson, Desi Rogers, Greg Rozier, Eric Sakian, Adam Sanders, Tim Serdar, Heather Sohn, Blake Strike. That's like a Hollywood name. Lisa Tomlinson, Ron Roble, Kalia Zawacki, and the gracious and wonderful Connie Hutchins, who was at STLV, and we got to see her, and wonderful, wonderful person, wonderful person. So great to see Connie.
Take a breath. Please, I beg you. Or stop, either way. We also want to thank our Trek Geeks producers for their support. They are Mike Bovia, Steve Bovia, Jeff Caliendo, Kyle Castillo, Peter Craig, Andy Davenport, Craig Ewing, Jackie Hackney, Chris Hackney. Look at that. We separated them out finally. Brian Hackworth, Kimberly Hartman, David Hood, Lionel Marchand, Matt McGonigal, Jim McMahon, Darren Metcalf, Charlie Mulvey, Sean O'Halloran, Casey Pettit, Jamie Rogers, Casey Shafsky, Terry Shull, Jim Stoffel, Chris Tribuzio, Christina Werther, and the lovely and talented Jess Vashon. Dan, of course, our senior producer for now and all time, the young man who ought to have been eating his dinner and not watching this horrible webcast. The gracious and talented Jude Tapman, who didn't send me a damn picture.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And dinner looked good, actually, I got to say. So, yeah, for all time, senior producer. You know what? You too can become a producer of Trek Geeks, and it's just so easy to do. Head right over to patreon.com/Trek Geeks for all the details.
That's that right there. Dan, next week, we're going to dive in on a topic that I've been thinking about for a little bit. And it could be an interesting discussion. It could be a discussion that off-puts some people, but let's take it on anyway.
Yeah, sounds like a great plan. You know, as we've said for a long time here on Trek Geeks, the past several years have been touted as the best time to be a Trek fan with all the new shows. But with that being said, are the new shows really continuing Gene's vision? Are y'all wondering if Trek has passed us by? Are we just getting too old for the new Trek? Is the new Trek causing you to revert back to watching Legacy Trek? These are all valid questions and all ones that we're going to discuss and try to answer next time on Trek Geeks. You know, the flagship of that thing we do.
The Mafia? I'm going to have that song, that thing you do in my head all for the rest of the day now. I just want to point that out.
Great. Don't sing it to me, please.
That Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah.
The one he wrote and directed, but that's just me. Of course, for more great Star Trek discussion, please check out our other member podcasts here on Trek Geeks. So many great shows like Sci-Fi Sisters and the Big Sci-Fi Podcast and, With the First Link and The Divine Treasury and so many others that are just, wanting to share their love and passion for Star Trek and Gene's vision. You can find all our podcasts by going to trekgeeks.com/listen.
Trek Geeks. No one talks Trek like we do.
No one. Okay, no one. Just no one.
Nobody.
So just listen. No one. Nobody. Just the quieter you get, the better this show gets. I don't quite know what it is. And of course, for all the news on all the Star Trek, please visit our great friends at treknews.net. For now, this has been episode number 317. We do hope you all live long and prosper.
Help me, coconut. Help me, coconut. No?
I see you put as much effort into that as you did your sarcasm. Circus, still better. Well, perfectly timed too. Look at that. I said 3, 2, 1. It came back in 3, 2, 1. And might I say, bing bong!
Bing bong, pal. Bing bong. Bing bong. Bing bong it quickly. Get the bing bong down here.
All right, go ahead, say it. It's the thing you said.
Let's go. How many times did I say that in Vegas? Like 200?
Like too many. It would have been better if you were quoting Schwarzenegger, not quoting some guy who was imitating Schwarzenegger,
I
because
know.
there's no context.
There is. I know, but it's still fun.
But if you don't get to the chopper all weekend long, I would have found it completely
Oh.
hilarious.
Yeah, okay. It's fantastic. Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. It's
You get to
cardio
the
day.
chopper, and it's
Go!
like you're choppering and choppering and choppering.
We're not
No.
going there.
We're not going there.
No, we're not going there.
No.
Oh,
No.
wow. Mm-mm.
So I arrived home on Monday afternoon.
Yes.
I got in well before dinner time, which was great in Raleigh.
Yeah.
And I was home by like 1:00
You're a dink.
local time. And I got reports that we were going to get hit by Tropical Storm Debbie on Thursday.
Okay.
It's like, well, okay, well, I've lived through tropical storms and hurricanes in New England, but I'm here to tell you they're very different in the Carolinas,
Oh,
because
I'm
usually by
sure.
the time they get to New England, they've been over land for a lot
Yeah.
longer,
Yeah.
and it's like a bad thunderstorm. Growing up in New England, you and I are used to forecasts in the winter of snowfall that sound like 8 to 14 inches,
Mhm.
5 to 10 inches.
Yeah.
We were forecast for 5 to 9 inches of rain
Rain.
between Thursday and Friday, and we got about 8.5 inches.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even, was it was it hurricane level 1 by the time it hit, or was it even lower?
It was a tropical storm.
Wow. That's a lot of rain.
After it arrived here, it became a tropical depression.
Yeah.
But those outer bands just nailed our area of eastern North Carolina. And the winds weren't bad.
Yeah.
It seriously was just the rain. The other problem is we spent a full 24 hours under tornado watches.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the difference between a tornado warning and a tornado watch is a warning means a tornado could happen.
Right.
A watch means all of the things that could cause a tornado are in the mix, and a tornado could be imminent where you are.
Isn't it the other way around?
No, it's not. So here's the
Oh,
best
okay.
comparison.
Okay.
If you compare it to tacos, a taco warning means we could have tacos. A taco watch means we have all the ingredients for tacos, and taco time is coming, so get ready.
I had
I
tuna
saw
poke tacos.
I saw a meteorologist drop that graphic once. It may have even been Katie, I'm not sure, but
I would not be surprised.
but yeah, it was scary. We had a couple of tornadoes touch down within 5 miles of us here
Oh my.
where we
Yeah.
are. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
But there was one fatality in one of the tornadoes about 15
Boy.
minutes from here,
Yeah.
which is sad, but it could have been a lot worse.
The remnants, when it got up here, we had some showers and wind, and not even strong wind. It was not, there was nothing by the time it got up here. I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad everybody's, that's a lot of rain. Your backyard must be moist.
I gotta say, only one corner of it really flooded.
Yeah.
The rest of because we have a septic system, the rest of our drainage really did a wonderful job. I don't think that analogy
I
was helpful.
100% agree. Oh my God.
I'll find the graphic. I'll post it to Patreon. But it certainly was something. I'm glad that I was home for it, because our dog Isabella was just a mess.
I'm sure.
We had to pretty much keep her medicated throughout the weekend. There was also some rain on Friday and Saturday, but not nearly the level that it was on Thursday. We count ourselves immensely lucky.
Good. I'm glad everything's okay. You were telling me that you were still under that watch or warning for a long time. I was like, wow, that's usually when they happen up here. It's for like, we'll get like messages on Alexa, and it's for like 20 minutes,
right?
For like only for like thunderstorms, not even anything like as dangerous as a tornado. So yeah.
Well, I have an app to recommend, and that is the Red Cross Emergency app.
Oh,
I found it extremely helpful. They broadcast the alerts from the National Weather Service and NOAA before anybody else. If you are about to experience severe weather, or there's the threat of it, you can set up alerts for it. It really was fantastic in keeping us informed. The other thing that was fantastic is I was watching the local ABC affiliate here in the Raleigh area, And when one of these tornado watches was called, and I have to tell you, you actually were right about the whole watch versus warning thing. I screwed it up. I'll show you in a
Oh,
second.
okay. Okay.
Warning was called. Um, they actually were able to zoom down into street level to tell
Oh, wow.
streets in a given neighborhood in a given town could be affected. So it really was amazing because they'd say, people on, Elm Street or whatever, get to your safe place right now
Yep.
because you are in the most serious threat. So it was good to know that those kind of resources are available. Obviously, we had power. We could have watched it on our phones, obviously, because they were sharing that live to the web.
Yep.
It was super helpful to know that, there's information available, and you don't have to just wonder and worry.
Right.
So it was like nothing I've ever experienced before.
That's awesome. Cool. I'm glad to see. Glad to see that you're safe. Dan was finally right about something. I don't know if that's ever going to happen again, so I just wanted to make note of it.
Of
Didn't
course,
happen
you
very
didn't do it
often.
as a ticker, so
I didn't want to do it as a ticket. I wanted it to be blasted right there so everybody could see it and read it, and it would
I
stay
just
right in
deleted it.
everybody's mind.
So here's the comparison,
Oh, all right.
and I did mix it up, but
That's okay.
I had the definitions right just for the wrong words. So
That's
a
funny.
taco watch or hurricane watch is when all the ingredients are in place for tacos to happen. A taco warning or tornado warning means we're having tornadoes in the area right now.
Gotcha. All
I
right.
can remember everything about tacos because I love tacos.
Okay.
I don't love tornadoes.
No, I don't think many people do like tornadoes unless
Yeah.
they're watching the movie Twister. I don't know. Anyway.
Maybe this analogy helps now. I don't know.
No. I'm hoping she says no. Oh,
Well,
damn.
Burley says that makes more sense.
Well, Burley, come on now. Obviously on Bill's side.
It's because somebody should be. You've got everybody else in the audience on your side.
Oh, goodness gracious. Anyway.
So that was my return home.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Mine was nothing like that at all. It was Sue picked me up, got to get tackled by the dogs when I got home, which is always like one of the best parts of returning home is the dog. And Aria is now at the age where she's not as mobile as she used to be. So she'll get up on the bed and she'll just start crying, like cry happy that I'm home. It's adorable. She'll just start whining and nuzzling, which was great. And then I just got back into the grind. That's what I've been doing since Tuesday of last week. Back in the grind, looking for stuff, trying not to get too down and depressed and stressed and freaked out and scared. And then to help with that, yesterday I went to the store and got myself something that I needed, and I got myself
Lobotomy?
the Jaws Lego set that I have been so excited about ever since it's been announced. I'm very happy about it. I even got my little Chief Brody already put together. Oh, you're gonna need a bigger boat.
You need a bigger boat, you jerk.
Yep. So very, very cool. Like that very much. And they actually had it in stock. So that was even better because you can't find it. It's already back ordered to like October.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah.
I've been
So, yeah.
unpacking things for my little Trek Nook here.
Nook.
I've been adding something pretty much every week. So I added some Eagle Moss starships over here,
Mhm.
mostly Starfleet ones, the hero ships from all the shows.
Yeah.
I've got my Defiant right here, which you can't
As you
really
should.
see, but
As you should.
there's a Voyager, there's the Enterprise D, there's the C, there's the B, there would be the refit, but that's broken, but another story for another
Yes.
time. There's the NX-01. I added an Uhura Funko Pop.
Oh yes, there she is. Hi.
There. Tribble.
Tribbley.
My fan sets.
Yes.
50th.
Howard Wolowitz belt buckle.
Howard Wolowitz belt buckle. I've got the 200 episode hand painted tile that Emily from Discovering Trek Prodigy made us.
Yep.
And I've got my tricorder, which you saw earlier. One of the other things I unpacked, which I haven't put up yet, because obviously my Trek Geeks Delta is leaning against the wall there. Is something you made for me more than a decade ago.
Yeah.
It is this needle point.
Cross stitch,
whatever. I don't know the fucking difference. Get off my ass. This cross stitch that you did for me ages ago, which I absolutely love. So I still have the apparatus with which to put a hanger on the back.
Yep.
and of course it's got your handwritten message on the
Yeah,
back.
yes.
But this will obviously go in my Trek Nook somewhere.
Nice. Do you still have the do you have the Trek
I do. It's
the Geeks
downstairs.
logo? Yeah,
Yep.
that one was one that I just remember things sort of like sports. We were watching one of our rewatches of Grimm up in Maine when I did that Trek Geeks Delta one for you, and that one was harder than other ones I've done because there was really no pattern to go by. I had to create it myself on my
Yeah.
computer and then do all the different color stuff. So that one I like that one. That was a fun one. I enjoyed doing that one too. As I
So
enjoy all my stitches.
so I'm coming across all kinds of stuff that, I've had for the longest time. I'm
Yep.
gonna start packaging up my groups of action figures by series.
Yep.
I'm gonna keep some of them,
Mhm.
but others I'm just gonna offer to send to people if they pay for shipping and Camp
Yeah.
Camera.
Yep. Which is nice. Boys and their
Boy,
toys.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And regarding your cross needle, um, I don't know which one to call it, so I'm gonna call it cross needle.
Cross needle or needle stitch.
Needle stitch. Oh, I like
Needle
that
stitch.
too. Um,
Yep.
I would love tacos during a hurricane. I actually was drinking hurricanes during the tropical storm,
That's interesting.
just to
I
throw it out there.
I'm not a huge taco fan, but I will say those tuna poke tacos that we had at El Segundo Sol that night we went in Vegas Tuesday night were absolutely incredible. They were phenomenal.
Look at this. We got a thumbs up on the taco explanation.
Yes, oh, are you
If I
sure that's
hadn't,
are you
yeah,
sure that's the explanation, or maybe she's just saying we're
I
having
am.
a good
I'm
conversation?
sure. Shut your mouth, Dan.
Oh,
So yeah, it's good to be home.
yep,
It's weird to think of North Carolina as home now.
yep.
Well, I don't need this kind of shade, Haley. Wow, Bill, butchering needlework, how insulting.
Damn
No, I'm
straight.
butchering Dan.
What
I
did
think
I
there's a
do?
distinct difference. What
No. See,
haven't you done?
cross stitches have to stick together, girl. There you go.
Yeah, okay. Haley, if this had been something you had created with your own hands, I would not have butchered it. I just want to throw
Oh,
that out there.
I see. All right.
It's
Okay.
because I just don't respect Dan.
I think it's
Um,
probably because I rub off on you, and I always make mistakes in how I pronounce things. So you just did that time naturally.
I do it to be in sympathy with you. Yes, I know you cross stitch. Dan cross needles.
See what I have to put up with, people.
No,
I
see,
mean,
this is what you default to. See what I have to put up with people. You do this in Vegas all the time.
I do this
You were the
wonderful
worst.
work. I
You're
do
the
this.
worst. No, no, no. Let me finish. You were the worst offender of giving me shit at every opportunity.
What?
Yeah, don't feign ignorance.
I work so hard on these projects for the friend that I love so much, and this is what I get. Cross needle.
Yeah.
Cross needle this turkey neck.
Didn't I talk about how wonderful it was?
You did. You did. Thank
All
you.
right. Then
Yeah.
shut your bitch mouth.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Home is where the
funny
heart
that
is.
it's funny
Home is
that you
also
say
where
that.
Dan is not.
Yes, that's true. It's funny that you say that. I don't I said this to you in Vegas. I don't think I'm going to be collecting Star Trek stuff anymore. One, because I don't have the room for it. Two, because the licenses that are getting signed by Paramount are freaking ridiculous. $1,000 for a watch.
Which is
And
marked down from 1,500.
yeah. And so I'm just going to stick with Fansets pins. Pretty much that's it.
Yeah, the occasional Funko.
Yeah.
Other things. They're not going to do any more Playmates action figures. I
I
already
was
put that one up there.
I know. I was talking. I say, what the hell? What the hell? Well, of
Get
course,
over it.
the one that you're working on right now, Haley, is going to take you like 6 more years to finish. So I'm really, really concerned.
Wow, see?
I'm saying that in a good way because the
No,
one
no.
she's making is gigantic. It's
No,
like
no.
humongous.
That's not how you meant it, though.
That's exactly how I meant it. She
No.
knows how I meant it.
No, I'm not concerned. Yeah, okay, Odo. To quote Dan Davidson, look what I have to put up with. Yeah, okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so much shade, Dan.
I know what you should let up a little bit.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, sorry.
You have the self-awareness of Michael Scott. Which is to say, you have absolutely zero
None,
self-awareness.
none at all. No, no, none at all.
No, no.
Oh,
Haley says, "Don't
don't
curse me."
curse me.
I'll curse him for the both of us, and I know that's not what she means. Well, all right, Jerk, are you ready to move on with our lives and
Yep.
do things? And
Yep, gonna do some stuff. Try to find some gainful employment. Work on some Jaws Legos, and get ready for what's going to be a pretty awesome conversation the next time we get together and talk. Because I think it's going to be very interesting.
I have some thoughts and I have some feelings.
Okay, all
And
right.
I'm going to preface this now, and I'll state it again in that episode. I love the new Star Trek stuff.
Yep, exactly.
I'm a fan of what they're doing.
Yep.
We're going to talk about resonance. We're going to talk about connection with the material. We're going to talk about a great many things. But none of it is out of, none of it is in a critical nature of the new shows.
Yep.
None of it is in, to be negative by any means. And we'll draw that distinction very clearly when we do the show next time. But this is all just examining possibly getting older.
It's Star Trek.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I totally get where you're coming from, because when you floated the idea yesterday to me, I'm like, yeah, that's a great discussion. Yep.
and I'll preface it using, I'm not going to use the quote now, but I'm going to preface it using the quote from Star Trek that I gave you in chat yesterday, because I think that's kind of how I'm feeling. And this is just to tease the audience a little bit. But if you watch Star Trek 6, you might understand what I mean.
Okay. Yep. And Burley hit it right on the head. Thank you.
Well, some of us are older than others, Dan.
I know, 55 in a month. Yeah.
Which it means I got a month and a half.
Month and a half. Yep. That's all right. All right. I gotta go take a nap in the middle of the afternoon.
You mean again?
Yep. All right.
Everybody, Patreons, thank you so
yes.
much. We love you. People viewing this on YouTube later, thank you so much. Check out our Patreon at trekgeeks.com/Patreon. No, patreon.com/trekgeeks.
There you go.
I'm all screwed up today.
I'm the one who says it all the time, so I get it.
Love and logic, y'all. Talk to you later.
Got it. See you next time.